3 games in 6 days are in the books for the Wildcats, and that means it's time for Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you, Cats fans. Thanks for joining us on this week's show. We'll sit down with Cats head coach John LaFontaine and look at that Wednesday win over the Lone Star Brahmas, as well as the weekend that was down in North Richland Hills. We'll also take a look at the best of the best. A lot of good plays from the Wildcats in January. We'll see which top 5 made the cut in our plays of the month. And of course, we'll get you situated with the news and notes you need for the weeks ahead. All that and more coming your way on Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Welcome back to Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you, Cats fans. Thanks for joining us. As joining me now in his customary spot to my left is head coach John LaFontaine. We're talking Wednesday's shootout win over the Brahmas. We'll also touch on the 3 games over the last week or so with Lone Star as a whole, and then we'll start to look forward to the bigger picture as it's somehow gotten very late in the 2014-15 regular season. All of a sudden, we're into the final third of the 60-game campaign. But, John, let's start with that thrilling shootout win over the Brahmas on Wednesday. And it was a game that started out eerily similar to Friday's contest down in North Richland Hills, taking an early 2-0 lead, but giving it back on a Brahmas squad that is known to battle back.
Yeah, and in the same period, it was 2-2 before we knew it. So we came out strong. And again, I think we've had 3 straight games against them where we have outshot them pretty good in the first period and gotten the first goal, come out strong. It was disappointing that by the end of the first it was tied 2-2. And the way they got their 2 goals. But, the guys weathered the storm and played another good second period. And we looked at this 3-game set, Ben, as kind of like a little playoff series. 2 games down there, 1 here, and let's pretend this is a best of 3. And just for a focus and just to kind of get our mindset on the fact that these guys are very strong and as tough a team as we're going to play all year, if not the toughest. And so it was good to end strong with the last 2 games, finding ways to win.
Yeah, we'll touch on the series as a whole in the next few minutes here. But, John, you mentioned there heading into the second period, you were not in the spot that you wanted to be, having given up the 2-0 lead. But you outshot the Brahmas 13-10 over the final 2 periods of Wednesday's contest. Did you notice anything different among the team heading into the second period on Wednesday night than, say, Friday evening?
Yeah, there was definitely, a feeling of confidence, more confident. Friday, we hadn't played them in so long. We were in their building, and you just kind of had a feeling the guys just weren't sure of themselves, and we were on our heels. We were letting them take the game to us, and the effort was there last night. The guys played hard, and they were committed to defense, and you just don't feel like we really ever got on our heels. We played on our toes. I thought we carried the play for most of the night, and had by our stats, we had out grade 8 shot them, which we look at pretty closely, 2-1 the whole night. So we were getting the better opportunities and more shots, of course, with the shots being 33-20. But anytime we hold a team to under 25, we're happy. When you hold a team like Lone Star with all the talent on their squad, they have 10 94s. They have 10 20-year-olds in their lineup. They're very strong. They have the leading scorer on the team. When you hold them to 20 shots, your guys had to compete pretty hard.
One thing that you notice over the 3 games, John, the top line was less and less impactful as those 3 games went along. I'm talking about the unit of Larson in the middle with Vidmar on his right wing and Oscar Andren on the left. 3 big Swedish guys, 3 of the best scorers in the league, and they made a big impact in Friday's game, not so much in Saturday, and they were very quiet in Wednesday night's contest. What was the key to that transition there?
Well, last night, I think it was the key. When you're at home, you can get the matchups you want. So we were able to get the matchups of mainly Knight and Cook against that line, and certainly Towns can handle that line, and he was paired with Azanero. But for almost the whole night, we got the matchup, and Knight and Cook took that as a challenge and has taken that. But as a challenge all 3 games. But when you're on the road, it's pretty tough. They have the last change, And I just thought the difference Saturday was our guys just, they just played together. It seems like every time we've been challenged, these guys rise to that challenge. And, Friday night, they were not happy with our second period. Our guys were not happy. We played two really strong periods, the first and third, but unfortunately, the second period cost us. And, you could just feel the locker room that night that as a unit, they were determined that we're going to be better tonight. We're going to be different tonight. And then, and we were better. We really played tighter defensively. We didn't let them get us on our heels. We beat them to pucks most of the night. You get used, I think as you play them, you kind of get used to their style of play. They just love to just stretch and chip, but when they do that, they get all this speed built up through the mid zone. And so our goal was to get on their defensemen a little bit quicker so that they didn't have their timing, kind of disrupt their timing a little bit, and then make sure we're gapping and eliminating all the speed they got through the mid zone. And I think the more you play them, they get used to it. Now they're very good and they're very well coached, and they'll throw something different at you next time. So.
Fair to say that there are some pronounced similarities between the style they play and the style that Odessa plays, who will be the Wildcats' next opponent?
Yeah, if there was one team, I agree with you, Ben. If there was one team that's very similar, they like to stretch. They like to get all that speed going through the mid zone. Actually, very similar styles. Both guys that coach come from a pro background, and it's not easy to play against. We struggle against Odessa, and it was pretty exciting to see how we got better each game against Lone Star.
Absolutely. Speed can kill, but the Wildcats have a lot of speed of their own, and we're able to neutralize some of that from Lone Star. John, let's put the underline on on Wednesday's contest. What was your overall takeaway from the night, especially after the game tied up 3-3 late in the third? It seemed like both teams had very good opportunities to get a winner. None was forthcoming, and Austin Shaw really stepped up in the shootout.
He did. When you have a lead and you get to the 5-minute mark or close to it of the third, and you don't finish them and you don't get that win in regulation, that was a disappointing part. But you can't think about that. You still play the game. We played really strong, and they got another shot from the blue line that just kind of C&I shot that just found its way into the net for the game-tying goal. But we played the kind of period we wanted to. I thought, again, we had the grade A chances better than them. We had more shots. They just found a way to tie it up. They're a good team, and our guys didn't let that get them down. They had a really good opportunity in the third after that to win. We had a couple opportunities in overtime to win. We had a breakaway that we missed. It was a good hockey game. Guys played hard. And for us, seeing Shaw play 2 games in a row where he had to make a couple really big saves and bail us out when he did was huge.
Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing. I'm Ben. He's Coach LaFontaine. And John, let's turn our attention now to looking at that 3 games over the last week or so against the Brahmas, kind of, as you mentioned, as a mini playoff series, a best-of-3 series. And one phrase that really seems to pop into my mind quickly is that this was a very good opportunity for the Wildcats to be battle-tested heading down the stretch run. Is that something you'd agree with?
Oh, for sure. Ben, we hadn't played them since early October.
October 3rd and 4th to be exact.
Yeah, I mean, and that's such an early part of the season that, we didn't play them when they were hitting their stride, and they didn't play us when we were hitting our stride. So, we watched how they've progressed throughout the year, and they keep getting stronger. And they've got the leading scorer on the team, and in the league, they've got a couple of high college commitments to Union and Merrimack. And Colorado College, and so we've watched them but haven't played them. So it was a great test at the right time of year when teams are stepping up, playing more playoff-style hockey anyway. So for us, we kind of looked at it as this is going to be similar to what playoffs are going to be like against any team, and let's see what we're made of. So it was a great test against what we've already talked about, a different style team.
Yeah. One other thing to really note, and maybe from a player standpoint you don't put too much stock into it, but sending the Brahmas to their first regulation loss at the NYTEX Center in their 22nd game in that building out of 28 this year. that's something to hang your hat on. That's a very impressive feat, both for the Brahmas making it that long and for the Wildcats handing them their first regulation loss. John, I'll ask you the next question. This will be kind of a two-parter here. What did we learn over the last 3 games? What did we learn about the Brahmas, and what did we learn about the Wildcats?
Well, we learned about the Brahmas that they're very skilled. They're very skilled, and their defensemen are very mobile. They're very underrated. If you don't respect their defensemen enough, they're going to burn you. They're very quick. They're very mobile, and they really kind of make their team go. They're the ones that are drawing you in and finding guys that are open down the ice and stretching it. And of course, they've got, one of the top lines for sure, if not the top line. I mean, with Vidmar and Larson and Ogren or Andren. Vidmar's leading the league in scoring. Larson hasn't played as many games, and he's maybe the hottest player right now scoring. So you've got to really, really respect them. You've got to play them tough and physical. And they're not just skilled. They're strong on the puck also, especially Vidmar. He can draw 2 or 3 guys and still out-muscle you and make a play. So you really have to play stronger team defense. You've got to box out better. So what we learned about ourselves is that we can play playoff-style team defense and really protect our net and not give teams grade A quality chances. We really limited them. All their goals were from the perimeter.
Yep, certainly a good lesson to learn for the Wildcats. And just one more final side note. You mentioned the top line there. Last night or Wednesday night in this last 3-game sequence featured 2 of the best top lines that you're ever going to see at the junior level, let alone the North American Hockey League. Obviously, Andren, Vidmar, and Larson for the Brahmas, and Austin Bolio, Tommy Apap, and Colin Staub back together and clicking once more for the Wildcats. And it's great to see Austin Bolio start to get on a little bit of a roll. That's going to be huge heading down the stretch, and we are into the stretch run here in the 2014-15 campaign. Just 18 games remaining in the regular season, John. And in your opinion, as they sit in second place, 5 points behind the Roadrunners, do the Wildcats still have a shot to win the South Division?
Well, they have 30 wins. We have 29. They've played a couple more games than us. We've got to go play up there a couple more times. Anything can happen. All 3 teams that we're talking about, us and Topeka and Lone Star, have very similar schedules where we have a lot of road games, but so do they. We've all got a lot of road games. I don't know. I don't know who has the toughest set of road games. We could say that we do, since we have to play Topeka and we have to play Lone Star still. But both of those teams got to take tough trips to Wenatchee and a lot of travel. It's whoever plays consistent and whoever can play on the road down the stretch.
Just to provide a little bit of context there, the Wildcats, after their next 3 home games on the 13th and 14th of this month, and then the 18th against the Brahmas, finished with 12 of their last 15 games away from the K. Yeager Coliseum. Topeka closed with 14 of their last 18 on the road. The Brahmas closed with 13 of the last 19 away from the NITEC Center, but they do close with that big set down there against the Wildcats in North Richland Hills at the end of March. And the last 3 games were a battle. You can be sure that series is going to be an all-out war. Probably still going to be a whole heck of a lot to play for. Fully expect it to come down to the wire, John. Is that something that you would agree with?
Yeah, if you look at the way it's been going, it's probably going to mean something those last 2 games, vying for something. And it'd be nice to be in a position where they don't mean anything. But the way things have gone, I'm sure those are going to be important games.
Absolutely. Been nip and tuck the entire length of the season thus far. And just to remind you, finishing in the top 2, so important in the South Division this year because seeds 1 and 2 get a bye into the division semifinals, whereas teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 will meet in a best-of-3 play-in series. And that extra weekend off heading into the playoffs is huge to get bodies rested, get everybody healthy, and get your lineup set for that playoff stretch run. John, the Wildcats idle this weekend as we're starting to wrap it up here. Is this a good time to have a weekend off? We talked in the beginning of the year when the Wildcats had a bit of an interesting schedule. It seemed like it was almost a stop-and-start slate to open the season. And you mentioned that it was a little frustrating then because you couldn't get your team on a roll. Now, a little bit later on in the year, guys a little bit more banged up, a little more tired. Is this a good time to have a break?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts us, Ben. It's a tough time of year. Sometimes we say this time of year less is more. This time of year you're going hard. We just went through probably our toughest stretch, a month of a lot of travel, a lot of adversity with playing some of the top teams and traveling to Topeka, traveling to Lone Star, and fighting through a pretty short Christmas break and Christmas schedule. So it probably comes at a good time when it's not going to hurt us, that's for sure.
Let's talk top prospects tournament here before we let you go, John. And as you might have known earlier, the Wildcats had 5 players selected to the annual top prospects tournament in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the end of this month, including forward Nick Farmer, Max Reisinger, Tommy Apap, defenseman Jake Townsend, who will all represent the South Division, and Austin Bolio, who has been selected to the Null Selects team, which is comprised solely of players who are eligible for this year's NHL draft. John, this is an event that they didn't have in your first go-around here in the North American Hockey League. From a coaching standpoint, we should mention Coach LaFontaine will be the assistant coach of the South Division squad. From a coaching standpoint, as you try to move your players on to the next level, what kind of opportunity does this type of showcase represent to those players?
Well, first, they do it the right way. It's pretty exciting the way the North American League has organized this. Each division sends their own team. The players, it'd be so easy to want to send the top players that all have scholarships and everything. And, you know, that's what the requirement is. They can't have a scholarship yet or a commitment to a Division I college. And so it's exciting that we're going to get high-end players that are all potential Division I hockey players that get to be scouted the right way. So it'll be my first time. I haven't been to it as a participant at all or even as a scout. So I'm excited about it. I like the format. I like how they run it. And I like the fact that they do it on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And we keep hearing from scouts. It sounds like it's very heavily scouted. I know that the Wildcats had a couple players that were scouted heavily last year and as a result of this tournament. And you know, that just says that much more for the league. Our goal is to provide the best hockey top end that attracts the Division I programs and can foster scholarships and commitments from there. And it certainly has been happening on a consistent basis throughout the league. It's pretty exciting, some of the college commitments from North Dakota to Union to, I mean, the top teams are committing to our players in this league, and the level of play is fantastic.
Seems like this year, more than in the last few years, the North American Hockey League is really sending players straight into the Division I level, yep, as opposed to sending them up to the USHL first. And just to provide a little bit more background, over 180 college and professional scouts representing almost every D1 school and almost every NHL team were at the Top Prospects Tournament last year. And the two that Coach LaFontaine mentioned, Sam Piazza and Kyle Bauman, well, Piazza made a commitment days after the Top Prospects Tournament, with Bauman a couple months later. Both of those guys are playing D1 hockey as a result, or partly as a result, of the Top Prospects Tournament. We'll have more on the Top Prospects Tournament and how you can help support your favorite Wildcats player as he makes the trek up to Ann Arbor. That'll be February 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We'll be following that one on the Wildcats Facebook and Twitter, as that'll do it with our conversation with Wildcats head coach John LaFontaine. John, thanks for joining us. When we come back, we'll have the top 5 plays of the month of January. There were some good ones. See what make the cut on the other side of the break, as Wildcats hockey, presented by Armored Roofing, will return just after this. We're back on Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. You just heard from Cats head coach John LaFontaine, and now, with that in the books, it's time to take a look at the best of the best from January. Here now are our top 5 plays of the month.
And start things up the ice once more. Bolio fed softly forward, Staub skates onto it in stride towards the middle here. Staub loading, shot, scores! Colin Staub, 5-hole, makes it 2-0, 8:51 left in the second period. forward. Here's the Benedetto waiting for reinforcements. None forthcoming. Good back check here by the Wildcats. Sees this one turned right back up ahead. Here's Farmer with a step. All alone in front. Farmer scores! Oh, what a goal! Nick Farmer makes it 6-4. In favor of Amarillo, according to point streak, and the big board here for that matter. As off the face-off, the Cats won it back to Chernyuk and Townsend, and now it's Lazarus touching it along for Staub. Now it's a partial 2-on-1. Here's Staub at the circle. Staub, backhand effort, scores! Colin Staub goes. And he'll direct this one away. Skittering puck here, left behind. Here's Lazarus. Lazarus at the circle, toe drag, backhander. Lazarus scores! Oh, my word! Now it's Bolio in his own zone. He'll have his pocket pick. Larson towards the net. Vidmar all alone in front. Oh, my word! Austin Shaw with the save of the year! Are you kidding me, Austin Shaw?
There you have it, folks. The best of the best for the month of January, as now we're back on Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you, Cats fans, and sadly, it is time for us to say goodbye. But before we do, we'll get you up to speed on everything you need to know for the weeks ahead. We'll kick it off with reminding you that season ticket sales are now open for the 2015-16 campaign. With new seating categories and lower prices almost across the board, there's never been a better time to be a Wildcats season ticket holder. For more information, give us a call at 716-5587. Buy early and save more. If you pay in full by the end of February, you'll save $42 off of each seat. For more information, give us a call in the Wildcats office to find out all about the benefits of becoming a Wildcats season ticket holder. Later on this month, the Wildcats will be sending 5 players and Coach LaFontaine to the Top Prospects Tournament. We touched on it a moment ago, but just to round it out and give you some context, the Wildcats are looking for community support to help us send our players to that Top Prospects Tournament in Ann Arbor at the end of the month. This will go to help defray the cost of travel and lodging while the Wildcats and head coach John LaFontaine are on the road. If you would like to support your favorite Wildcat player as they try to reach the next level of their hockey career, give us a call in the Wildcats office and ask for Debbie. The number is 716-5587. All sponsors of a Top Prospect attendee will receive game-worn equipment, signed memorabilia, and an exclusive meet and greet with their sponsored player. Call Debbie, as I mentioned, in the Wildcats office for more information. Reminder of our next home games. We're off this weekend, but the Cats will be back at it at the KYC on February 13th and 14th when they host the Odessa Jackalopes. Crucial division points on the line in that one. Reminder, February 13th, all kids 12 and under will receive a free Wildcats t-shirt courtesy of Digital Deviants of Wichita Falls. And then on February the 14th, take advantage of our 2 for $20 ticket special in honor of Valentine's Day. That is good on any seat in the arena. So that'll do it for us here on Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. For all of us here at the Cats, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.